Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the award-winning It's a Hull and Back podcast, proudly sponsored by Old Zoological Bar in Hull. I'm your host, Nathaniel, joined by Joe, Christian, and Will to discuss three matches and a bit of a drab a 0-0. And I'm pretty sure I predicted there to be no goals, and it's been 0-0 for the Watford game, so I'm quite happy with that. Finally, a good prediction from me. And I'm sure there's absolutely no reason or anything that you're going to say to persuade me that wasn't a good prediction. I don't think anything happened.
It wasn't because it happened.
It's just a dull game. We didn't even concede any shots on goal. Watford. Oh, look at us! We've only won or lost one in about 13. It was. They didn't trouble us at all, did they?
For a laugh, let's keep a note of what we predicted for Watford and see if we're closer when we re-predict the game when it's replayed, or what we actually...
Who says we need to do it for a laugh?
You're just going to do it already.
I didn't actually have Nathaniel's score at the time, so I didn't know he predicted 0-0.
Oh, mind you,
well,
yeah, the Stoke game. That was what I predicted 0-0 for, so that doesn't even work. I don't even think I predicted anything for Watford, which technically is right as well. So I should get 3 points for that.
Stop now.
Yes, we might have a few Watford fans joining us as well, because I was thinking before this episode, before the Watford game, we've got 3 matches to talk about.
I didn't think anyone saw putting the sprinklers on. Don't say that.
Would have got away with it if it wasn't for the meddling sprinklers.
I was thinking we might have too many games to talk about, but luckily we don't anymore. This is perfect. So we'll talk about, I guess we'll touch on Middlesbrough and Stoke, but yeah, I don't think we're going to be talking about football for quite a long time on this podcast.
Nathaniel, I'll stop you right there. Middlesbrough, great. Stoke, shit. There you go. We've talked about the games.
That's pretty much it.
Let's dive into Watford, shall we? Because outside the ground, me and Will were saying, when was the last time we had a game called off for frozen pitch?
Yeah, genuinely, this conversation came up at 12 o'clock. I did see him and I said, we haven't had a game called off for a frozen pitch here since QPR in 2011. Why the fuck did I say that?
Yeah, the jinx. The jinx, yeah.
I actually saw one of my close friends just walking along as I was walking to the match. And I said, I'm going to the game. It'll be really cold. He said, I'm surprised it would still be on. It's going to be very icy. I'm like, because of the injuries and because Watford are doing very well, I wouldn't mind if it was cold off, actually. And he said, so long as it's not cold off. And then he said, so long as it's not cold off when you get there. And I'm like, ha, ha, ha. Yeah, funny one. Good one. So I knew it was cold off just as I reached the top of the stairs to get to the West Upper Stand. Was it 18 minutes? It got delayed on Twitter.
For some reason, they decided to call off a game, which is incredibly irresponsible for all concerned. What are you fucking doing? Calling off a game at that short notice? Why are you not deciding a couple of hours at least earlier to call it off, or delaying the game and trying to sort it out? What are you doing?
Well, they had the blowtorches out earlier, but it's all up in the air of how early or late or for how long. Oh, here we are again for podcast listeners. There's a funny GIF playing. Of course, if you're watching this, you know which GIF it is, but you can just use your imagination otherwise. Has anyone written out a timeline? Because we might need one.
I think I've got it because, me and Will was in the press room, I was in the stadium. So I think we sort of know-ish what was actually unfolding in front of
I can assure you, the press room knew fuck all for most of the afternoon.
Well, you text me, didn't you, Will, at about 2 o'clock, referencing the chat we had before the game. And this is, as I've been seeing for the last half an hour that I've been in the stadium, the ground staff stood putting grit on the ice in the southeast corner, just to the outside of the corner flag. And I've never seen so many people on that pitch. I kept seeing the head of operations safety officer, deputy head of operation, all these different people, facilities managers, look all down where you never normally see them. Then all the ground staff, plus other stewards, plus Dean Holden and a member of the Watford coaching staff, plus all 4 officials, plus both clubs' secretaries. And a lot of different people were making a lot of different phone calls. And it became very apparent that the ice was not going to shift. And then the players started to come out to warm up, and you thought, all right, this game must be on. In the sort of interim period, while everything was getting checked out and before everyone left the pitch, the goalkeeper came out and started warming up. Nathan Baxter waved to a young Hull City fan in the West Stand who shouted, hello. It was just a lot of people stood around trying to do something about it, but not a lot was happening. Then, at one point, the blowtorches came out, which was a good laugh because they were only working on 3 feet of ice at a time, and it wasn't really making much of a difference. So that was
to be fair, on the blowtorch thing, right? Firstly, hilarious. Secondly, you don't want to start doing like loads of it in case you start burning the pitch and the side of the pitch. So they probably were testing it, to be quite honest, to see who was doing anything.
And it wasn't doing a whole lot. Then both the teams come to warm up. Watford came out quite gingerly because they didn't really know what was going on. But then City came out and started.
Well, yeah, because any player who came out the tunnel would have fallen on their ass going across that technical area.
Yeah.
Then it got to about 22. I'd made another couple of phone calls to various people who I knew coming to the game, just to bear in mind that it could be off. And then I went out to my seat at about past, went back onto the concourse, and that was that. I had my back turned, talking to the people who were sitting behind me, and Watford were walking back from clapping their fans, telling them that the game was off, and that was that. And you could tell as soon as the players walked in, before 20-3, that the game was going to be off. But the fact that there was so little communication immediately just created this whole, is it? Isn't it? What's going on? Does anyone know?
Oh, yeah, that was
in the concourse and
yeah,
fans.
Well, it was very similar in the press room. There wasn't really any communication given, and they had the feed on in the press room that showed, well, you could see the Watford players moving over to the Watford fans, and you're thinking that doesn't normally happen, pre-match. Not that late to pre-match anyway, and you could tell there was something wrong. But I know the staff at the ground had been already working on it till at least, I know that, and the earliest I know, but I think they were working on it early. I know they were working on it from at least 11, but I think it was earlier they were working on it, supposedly. The ref apparently didn't arrive until 1 o'clock, at which point, let's be honest, probably should have made a decision then if you really want to. The pitch was obviously playable. The pitch was fine. It was the outside of the pitch was the issue. I just trying to work out what the logic is, both with the official deciding not to postpone it until the end, because the official's the one who postpones it at the end of the day, and he's waited that long to postpone it. What is he doing? Because you are letting those players go out and train. If the ref has arrived at 12:45 and people are saying, people are saying stuff like, cameraman said, this game's getting abandoned at 12, and the game would have been abandoned at 12. It wouldn't have been waited until 20 minutes before kickoff for them to suddenly abandon it. They'd have abandoned it earlier. And I thought City was poor in explaining both the postponement at the time, because they were still letting fans in at the time when you got literally in the press room, looking out the window, fans were being let in en masse, and you could see on the screen the game was not being played. The game was being quite late. So where's the communication there? And I know that it took City a little bit of a while to actually communicate it. Then I feel that both the statements have been quite poor, to be quite honest. There's not really any information in either of them. And also it doesn't help that Watford's statement contradicts them as well. So you've got a lot of as a result, you've got contradicting information, which means you get a load of rumours and speculation. And I completely understand why Watford fans are really pissed off, rightly so. You've got to the ground, and 20 minutes before kick-off, after a long journey, you're told you're not playing. That's bollocks. It's ridiculous. But I feel like that's the manifested people wanting to essentially create speculation that City wanted to postpone the game on purpose because they've got injuries and we're in form. That's horseshit. Why would City risk both sanctions from the EFL and waste all that money financially on organising a game in the first place and letting fans in and all that stuff, the running costs of such a game to then cancel it last second? When they're currently under financial scrutiny as it stands, it's just... What it is it's not malicious, it's not underhanded, any of this. It's pure incompetence. All it is, it's pure incompetence on multiple levels. And, City have got away with it, I suppose, because it means they haven't got to play with a leggy team against an informed side. But that's not the point. The point is, from an organisational level, several levels up, several levels down, it's a mess. And it needs to be both rectified and, explained as soon as possible.
Needs to be learned from that as well. From an officiating side, whether that's been bolder for City's ground staff, that's all right. We need to actually sort off the pitch out a little bit, sharpish. And ultimately, right, you said it before we started going, Will, if City wanted that game to be off,
the pitch would have been shit. If they wanted the game off, the pitch would have been frozen as well. Let's be honest here.
They wouldn't have turned on the heating.
Shadow of a doubt, the game was not going to happen. The ref was going to turn up. He was going to cancel it at 12:45 or 1 o'clock or whenever he arrived, and it would have ended there. That is the simple... They wouldn't have let it get to the point it did if they really wanted it called off. Simple as that.
Because the players had already warmed up and everything, yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's bad for the players as well. Like, I imagine the City players are probably not happy. I imagine Sergei's fuming. I imagine Adjun's fuming.
Well, I think Adjun was. I saw him drive past, and I thought that was strange.
Adjun was in botanical. Yeah, he was having a good few before, and with his rolls he parked outside. So yeah, he was happy having a couple of drinks. But no, I think you worded it perfectly with the word incompetence. From start to finish, it's also incompetence to the kind of the stadium ground management with respect to we are meant to be a good, solid championship stadium / club.
It's a stadium that has been in the Premier League in the modern era.
Yeah, exactly. And nowhere in hell should we be having to postpone games. Not only what I'll go on about the late times, but even postponing a game because of what's going on around the edge of the pitch. That is just a ridiculous thing to get the game postponed for. And
I will say this real quick as well. That area of the pitch being frozen is a bad thing, for the record. People are saying, oh, well, the pitch was fine. That's all right. Well, no, because the edge of the pitch can be very dangerous as well. Obviously, the technical area, you've got players and staff moving constantly back and forth through it. The edge of the pitch has a linesman running up and down it constantly for 45 minutes each half.
And if
throw-ins, and players can go off the field, if they have a challenge and they can cause serious injury as a result. So from a player safety point of view, it makes perfect sense to postpone it. The problem is the way it was done. That's the issue.
And I think my other thing with this as well is not obviously the incompetence from the official side of things of when it was actually announced. Again, Watford fans, we feel for you because that was just so unjustified, and it's obviously
it's ridiculous.
It's a ridiculous thing, and it's going to paint Hull in a ridiculous light. But what I will say with respect to Hull, the way we're managing this is the way we've announced this and come about this is extremely poor. It's made us look horrific, and obviously Watford and obviously the Watford statement that's come out recently even puts us more into a bad light, as in the club itself. It should be something the Hull do need to press. It was the officials that made the final and then decision.
If a club could call off games, then we would have called off the game against Blackburn earlier, not a few years ago, but the one where we've had all the illnesses. All teams would do it tactically at certain times. Yeah. It wouldn't just be now, would it?
Because if we watch,
if you take Portsmouth versus Ipswich or Sheffield Oxford that was called off earlier in the day, there will be a due process for those games to be called off before the referee gets there. They will have to submit various amounts of evidence to say, look, this is why this game cannot be played. And if they fabricate evidence, then that's going to be quite easy to find, and for the EFL to find out. But for us, the whole process of everyone being there and it getting called off that late, and the announcement going round on the tannoy with Steve Jordan telling the fans at 15 minutes to kick off, the whole thing is just mental, and it's no like, in terms of playing staff, it's no fault of Hull City or Watford. In terms of players and coaches, it's everything else. It's not some grand conspiracy that Sergei Yakirovich didn't want to play the game with a depleted, weakened squad. It's a case of they probably didn't realise that the referee would take issue with the edge of the pitch until the referee arrived. And at that point, you've got 2 hours to kick off, and you've got to you've got to unfreeze an entire perimeter of pitch that's just frozen right through. And that's an impossible task. Yeah,
I'm sure Sergei, the man from the Balkans, would be concerned about cold weather. Definitely.
Yeah.
You got to question what the point of even having this undersoil heating is, because we had it and the match still can't go ahead.
Well, no, the pitch was fine. That wasn't the issue.
Precisely. What I mean is, if we didn't have that, the match would have been called off sooner, and it would have been caused less inconvenience.
The game back in 2011, which was the last time, I think was the last time a game was called off for
I wasn't born
frozen. Then. It was against QPR. From memory, I might be wrong. That was called off because the surrounding of the ground was dangerous.
Yeah, that's another.
It wasn't just the side of the pitch. It was like outside the ground was dangerous. And I think that's the reason that Sheffield United's game was called off early today as well. It wasn't that the pitch was an issue. It was getting to the stadium was an issue.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
And that is one of the reasons that they can call games off. If like every single inch of perimeter of stadium and streets near stadiums has to be gritted, and was gritted today, but it was simply everything was perfect to get the game on, apart from the perimeter of the pitch.
Yeah,
also it's people say, oh, you can put. I mean, in the technical area, you probably could have put down some like matting or some carpet or something on top of that as like a make do for the time being. The AstroTurf parts of the pitch, which I think maybe going up forward might be worth considering making them turf in the future if they learn from this instead of keeping them as AstroTurf. The issue was obviously it's easy to defrost it and all that. But what was it? It was getting towards 3 o'clock. By 4 o'clock, it had been dark again, and the temperature was going down as it was. So it would have likely just frozen again quite quickly as the game went on. So there's at that point you've got to realise there's no point doing this now, because during the game it's going to get worse again. So you should have earlier on made the decision way earlier on.
This is it. The issue I don't think is the fact of it was frozen and things like that. I think the biggest issue is how it was dealt by the officials, the timing of absolutely everything, and how it's been announced even after and discussed after as well. It's just been extremely poor. And it's another one of those things where we always state the officials are absolutely god-awful in the Championship. In a game, well, guess what? This was even before the game. It's a new level of low for officials in the Championship. You're poor in a game. You're now poor before you've even kicked off. Leaving it that late on is kind of unforgivable to everybody involved. And again, I will reiterate to the Watford fans, we are sorry that you made that trip, but it's not because of us. It is because of the officials.
Well, it is partly because of us. Because you've got a week. The previous week has been pretty cold and pretty snowy and pretty frosty and pretty windy. Surely you could have done some form of precaution to keep the pitch, to keep the stadium in a decent condition. Surely that can't be impossible to do.
No, yeah, you're right.
So, the only people in this for me who aren't to blame are probably Watford, because they're the visiting team. It's not on them to organise and sort out our stadium. The issue is our club long term not preparing games well enough, and the officials for sort of dealing with it in a really weird way themselves. I mean, it's a bit of both. There's no one who, the only people who, for me, like they said, the only people who don't get the blame are Watford and their fans because they've been shafted. Let's be honest there. And I would also argue the players, the Hull City players as well. It's just
except Drame. I've seen some people say they're upset for Drame because he would finally got a chance to play. He doesn't want to play, so he'll be ecstatic. Oh yes, this doesn't want to get an injury on an icy pitch and ruin his potential move away, does he?
It's 100% the club's fault. Can't blame the officials for not salting and covering the perimeter of the pitch. I mean, like I said, that's what I just said. It's both. You can blame the club for not adequately protecting the pitch, and you can blame the officials for letting it get to 20 minutes before kickoff before making a decision.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, there's only one person who can make there's only one set of people who can make that decision, and it is the officials of the match. It is no one else. No one else can make that decision. And it will be investigated. I mean, the EFL's already said they're going to investigate the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And rightly so, because it's a farce on multiple levels.
I get the feeling City will get a huge bollocking from the EFL for letting it get...
Oh, City will absolutely get a bollocking. Again, like, you can argue, rightly so. And like I said, the communication is a massive issue on it as well, because they've made it worse by not really saying anything. Like,
by the time I was told in the stadium, I couldn't hear the announcement. I had to be told by people in the toilets.
Well, brilliant. It's like the first Twitter statement that came out, fair enough, it's a generic statement. They've had to do it short notice. You've got to. But then they said, oh, well, another statement's going to come out in due course, and a few hours later, another statement comes out. But it's exactly the same statement, worded differently. Why? Why are you not? Please communicate a bit more information.
The only thing it said was that the match would be rescheduled.
Something that's come out and I've just seen now, which sort of contradicts how it was the sprinklers. They've had the sprinklers on, and Radio Humberside have said they've had the sprinklers on.
Someone rang in and said that.
Yeah, Mike White clarified live on air that from his sources at the club that the sprinklers were not used at all.
Yeah, that's very important because that came from the Watford side initially.
While the pitch was playable, it looked a bit bare, which says to me there hasn't been sprinklers on it.
Yeah,
I think they would have to be. They would, as you said, well, because the EFL are watching us like hawks, to intentionally try and derail a game. You would postpone it to 12 or the day before.
Yeah, we'll intentionally do all this and derail the game just so we finish 9th and not 10th.
And if that was the case, the owner wouldn't have flown from another country to do so, to see the game.
Not just another country, depending on whether he was in Turkey or the Dominican Republic. If it's the last, that's a 9-10 hour flight.
Yeah, I saw one fan had flown from Australia.
Yeah, I saw one City fan had done that. I feel sorry for them.
Yeah, there's a lot of people.
Well, that's the thing. It's like we say, the Watford fans. And I do feel sorry for the Watford fans, but there's City fans
travel
all
from everywhere.
Well, City fans can travel from far and wide.
Yeah,
like it's not just the Watford fans who are shafted. Let's say it's the City fans because a lot of City fans had to go out in a really horrible day weather-wise. It wasn't rainy or anything, but it was bitterly cold and it was not enjoyable to be in. To then get turned away, no one wants that.
Didn't even get to test how Malaya's held up when it got further into the negatives later on. I had 2 pairs of trousers, 2 pairs of socks, 4 different jackets, my big coat, gloves, everything.
I was quite warm, actually. I was quite happy with how my layers were working. I took them all off as soon as I got home. I was sweating like a pig. I
only got a little bit cold when I had to take my phone out to send a text to someone.
I mean, to be honest, from about 12 o'clock when I arrived at the stadium to about just gone 4 when I left the stadium, I was only outside for about 10 minutes, and that was to just have a quick look at the pitch. And that was at like 2:30.
Nice.
So going back to the statements, the second one in particular is very disappointing. Bristol Rovers in League 2, near the bottom of League 2, have already made a promise that all the travelling fans will be reimbursed. Imagina's been pretty good with the away travel, the free away travel for certain games. I'd like to think that they could do something for either our fans or Watford, or to give them some sort of free drink or something for the second match. Hopefully,
for a start, the ticket should remain valid. If you bought a ticket,
well, absolutely.
If you can't go, you get a refund. That's just the basic start of it.
Yes,
games should be, or even you then mark the prices down for when the game eventually does happen and you refund or something like that. Free travel. There's multiple things that need to be done to sort of make up for it. You mentioned when's it going to get rescheduled to? Well, if both of us go up the cup this weekend, it might only be in 2 weeks.
Yeah, that'd be good.
I think it's a very real possibility. It's on either the 13th or the 27th of this month.
It will be a midweek, won't it? It should be on
the issue. If it's a midweek game, I don't like that. Well, obviously, you got to fit games in where you can. I mean, it's a weekend game. People have planned it because it's the weekend. You move it to midweek, then most Watford fans who we're going to go, a lot of them will be shafted by it because now it's midweek travelling up from London to Hull.
It's not going to happen.
On a weekend, but I suppose there's only a certain number of weekends, like say Cup. In my head, the logical thing would be to organise it for a Cup weekend. Should both teams be out of it? To me,
the thing is,
the most logical choice.
The next Cup weekend, it falls on the 14th, I think, and that's when we're at Ipswich. So there's not a cutaway weekend for the FA Cup fourth round now.
Oh, is there not?
Which, is a shame. And it's why Southampton away got moved to midweek a few years ago as well.
If we finish 6th and Watford finish 7th or 45 games in, can't we just have it at the end of the season as a mini playoff?
It's like a mini playoff.
That'd be fun. Get it on Sky, get the money for it.
What? I mean, well, I like that. I wouldn't be against that. It's where you got to have the game sooner than that. And
obviously,
another reason Watford fans were pissed off, they're bang informed. They're the most informed team in the league. I completely understand why they're annoyed.
What a shame.
Well, this is the thing. Would all this stuff about conspiracy theories and all these be happening if they were in like dogger form or we were
Sheffield
in
Wednesday
high form? And
no.
That's very.
I think it'll be quite interesting to hear from Sergei on Thursday
he's always
when
fun
press conference is. It'll be Thursday before Blackburn.
I imagine Mercer will be upset because
to get his
it's a game that which means it's an issue later in the season.
Exactly. Yeah.
I would at a guess. I'd say I think now I've looked at fixtures a little bit more. I think it's unlikely to be the 13th, and to be honest, that's my birthday, so I don't really want to be trolling my ass out in the cold to watch Hull City versus Watford on my birthday. Just a selfish point. I think it will be either the 27th of January, which is a Tuesday, or the 3rd of February, also a Tuesday. That's my guess.
Baz Cooper says that
the 10th of February is also free, so it'll be one of those 3 dates, I would guess.
Baz has just said that the referee, the ground staff, the referee, safety officer, City and Watford are all in agreement to postpone the game. That's the one thing about that's unnecessary from the Watford statement, is that they were ready to play the game. If the safety officer and the referee and the home club,
I imagine the whole City players were probably ready to play the game. They were warming up on the pitch.
Definitely.
If they've all agreed that the match can't be played, so to imply that they should have played the game and that they were ready means that Watford don't care about the safety of the players or the fans or whoever. That's the only thing in the statement that doesn't make sense. Everything else is fine.
Like I said, it doesn't make sense. It would never make sense for the club to intentionally postpone the game, but in a way that the pitch is fine, the players are out warming up on it, and you wait 20 minutes. That doesn't, like I said, if you're going to postpone a game intentionally, theoretically, surely you are going to intentionally freeze the pitch fully before the game, and like I say, as soon as the ref's there, you can't play this. It's a frozen pitch. It's off. You do not wait. Don't do it in the manner that City did it. Simple as that.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, like a conspiracy theory.
Since we've done half an hour on a bit of carpet grass being a bit icy, shall we talk about something of actual substance, i.e., Middlesbrough I'm glossing over Stoke because who cares, quite frankly.
Well,
Stoke, they looked leggy, they looked knackered. It was Stoke at home, so we always lose.
they looked ready to throw the next game. Or better yet, postpone it.
Yeah, surely if they were so knackered and worried about a game, they'd have got the Stoke game postponed as well.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Palmer had a great shot. I celebrated that. That was the best moment of the game.
Oh.
The half a second when I thought
Casey
that was
Palmer
it.
looked like the most fresh player on the pitch, which is, it's been a while since that happened, but
Ice
fair
cold.
enough.
Well, it's because he is the most fresh player. He hasn't been bloody playing, has he? So
True.
Well, then
let's
he
be
should have no
True.
match fitness then, should he?
He played
True.
against Middlesbrough, hadn't he? So he was just about ready to play half an
He'd
hour.
been back in training from his injury. He was the best we've seen him in a while. But look, it's the sort of time of the season where you don't get good games. Most games across all the divisions.
Oh, it was definitely a poor game. I don't think Stoke were amazing either, but obviously they did what they needed to do.
Because
probably would as well.
games, such quick succession at this time of year. You're playing every 3 days. You play, you've got 2 days break, play a 2 days break, play a 2 days break, that kind of thing. You are, especially when you've got an injured squad and depleted squad like ours. Stoke as well. They didn't have Victor Johansson. They had to call in.
That was the thing. City should have been attacking their goal way more often.
Yeah, well, Simkin didn't really have to make a save, did he? But at this time of year, when those are the circumstances, you aren't going to get a lot of games that are great to watch. That's just. It's just
I think the difference is we were toothless. We were really toothless with the Stoke game.
We looked knackered.
Yeah, but even like anything from up the final third, it was try and win the foul or try and win a no foul. It was too much of that for me in the Stoke game. I appreciate that we're tight, but the way we were just going through, it's just Stoke was just a painful one to kind of get your head around from a whole City perspective, because I appreciate, look, you might not have much in the tank, but at least give it a go. At least. I mean, compared to Middlesbrough, which we're going to touch on, it was chalk and cheese. It was chalk and cheese, the Stoke and Middlesbrough game.
You know what, actually, there's one thing from the Stoke game. Palmer has that effort and it hits the bar and the personal line and all that. In the 98th minute, there was still 9 minutes to play.
Well, 11, I think. Did they play to the 99th minute?
They played 17 minutes of added
Oh,
time.
No, in general, there was 17 minutes added time, which I don't know if I've ever seen that.
No, and it was weird.
Not live, anyway.
In the last...
Yeah. Go on.
Oh, well, it's peculiar because when you get to the last 5 minutes, or if it's 5 minutes added on, the way you play, even if you've been outplaying a team, if you're defending 1-0 lead, you push back and the other team just shells it into the box for 5 minutes. I've never seen that happen for 17 minutes, though, because they played that, because mentally it's like, oh, it's the 90th minute, we need to go for it. So it was weird to see that happen for that long.
And then suddenly acted like they needed to score once it got to 17 minutes of added time.
Yeah, when there was 20 minutes of the game left.
Why didn't you do that on 70 minutes?
Yeah, but psychologically, you don't, do you? Because you think, oh, we've got all this time left, even though they'd only been playing for 10 minutes.
Outside of the Palmer effort, really, City pushed, but they barely threatened.
No, true. But we could have won it, couldn't we? Hughes and Palmer hit the bar. It's just a poor game. I think a 0-0 would have been appropriate.
They were the only two chances we had, though. We didn't create a whole lot for Ollie McBurney.
Nothing.
And he didn't really do much of what he had, but like I say, I think they all looked knackered.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Which is no excuse, because you're professional footballers, you probably should at least have something in your legs, but it always happens at the end of the Christmas period. Like, it's the same with loads of teams. Like I say, I don't think Stoke looked particularly amazing. I thought they looked quite slow as well, but they just had the physicality and they got the kills. They had the moment where they scored.
It was just one of those games where both teams were crap and one team won it. It's a simple.
And also Stoke always win here, which means that's been against everything.
Yeah.
We're going to win there next year. Yeah.
And then, but you compare that to a couple of nights before against Borough, and
that's the reason Stoke was leggy.
Yeah, game plan executed to perfection. We gave ourselves something to hang on to. and we hung on to it. It's a shame about Ryan Giles, and I thought that was going to derail the
Oh,
whole.
brutal.
But we came back out from that, scored immediately, defended really well. To a man, we were excellent. Regan Slater covered every single blade of grass.
Twice.
Cathal McCarthy came on and was excellent, by one moment when he slipped and one moment where he got booked. Fantastic.
Whoa, that doesn't make sense. League One's Regan Slater can't do something like that in this level.
With the worst team Middlesbrough have played home and away. Yeah. It's a shame Middlesbrough won because that result meant that we joined the automatic promotion push.
Hey, it was a nice couple of days, wasn't it?
And well, we've got
the automatic promotion race. It was a lovely couple of days.
Right, come back to me in 60 seconds.
Oh God.
Well, it's a good question that I've just brought up. The teams getting leggier on Christmas, and Matthew Adamson's brought up. Should England have a winter break?
Well, we did. It should be a break. 1 year. We did.
It's an interesting. I know. I think recently, didn't the Premier League do a thing where half the teams played 1 week and then half didn't, and then it was vice versa? It was like a staggered break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't mind that idea, to be honest. Have a staggered break. So there's always football on each weekend, but only certain teams are playing. So you
League One and
still
League
have a
Two
break in there.
They always have games postponed. Every 3 o'clock game in League Two was postponed, and that happens every year.
The National League got wiped out this past week.
It's weird that
postponements.
I know you can't, but in England in particular, winter is horrible. And this is I was thinking this. I know that because Sunday League football isn't associated with school, why doesn't Sunday League football take place in the summer? Considering that during the winter, when all the pitches don't have groundsmen and are just fields, why do we have to play in that? Because the matches are always getting postponed.
Have you seen some of the people who play Sunday League football, and you want them to play in plus 20-degree weather?
No, I mean when I was a kid, 12, 15 playing, I was very annoyed when it would get rained or snowed off all the time. But yeah, England did have a winter break in the Premier League for 1 year, and then I think COVID happened, and then they just threw it out the window.
That was to do with the Qatar World Cup, wasn't it? It was like catching back up from that.
It was before. I thought it was before.
No, that's the point. It was to do with a fitness thing to do with that, I believe.
Okay.
Well, they said they did it once. Why did they only do it the once?
Well, what I think should happen, because because we have a lot of foreign players in the Championship who like to come over, try their hand at English football. And I think for them to spend Christmas with their families is a good thing. A couple of years ago on Boxing Day, Jude Bellingham came to watch us because Job was playing for Sunderland, and it was the winter break in Spain.
In Spain.
After he'd moved to Real Madrid, and he came back. Abu Kamara was apparently in the West Stand the other day, watching our game because it's the winter break, and he could come home. So
just before anyone comments, he's injured, and we don't have a recall option. Just getting in ahead of the comments.
Before anyone says anything,
if you're typing it, you can delete that now.
Yeah, stop typing.
It's been a minute. I hope we get the match. Tuesday, the 17th of February, because that would mean we have 3 home games in a row. We can continue our automatic promotions.
This would have been 3 home games in a row.
Well, in the league, yeah.
But yeah, that was Middlesbrough.
And losing Giles is a huge blow. Thankfully, it sounds like he's, from what I've heard, it might only be like a month out, which is what I've heard of 4 weeks. In fact, Sergei said 4 weeks actually. So hopefully he's correct on that. The Bloom is a longer term one. Hopefully back before the end of the season. He needs surgery technically, but it's like Crooks. He can have surgery or continue come back earlier without it.
No, I think I see that a different way. I think Balloumi's been daft. The way Sergei's put it is...
I agree.
If Balloumi has the surgery, he has a 5% chance of that injury recurring.
This is the way that it was worded by Sergei, yeah.
And if he doesn't have the surgery, the specialist has said that percentage recurrence chance increases to 20%. So he's 4 times more likely to get injured again if he doesn't.
He just gets back earlier is the idea, yeah. I agree. It sounds like a mad thing to do.
I think Balloumi has been so daft there. I think he should have just written this season off, had this, I mean, it's easy for me to say because it's not my body and I'm not a professional footballer. But if I were him, I'd have written this season off, had my surgery.
I can understand why he doesn't want to write the season off, because he's been off with a long-term injury. He wants to play football, and I can completely understand why he wants to get back and play football as much as he can. It's a World Cup year, and his team's at the World Cup. He wants to play and try and get himself into that squad. It's unlikely. It was always unlikely. But obviously he won't be thinking that way. He'll be wanting to get his team there, and he'll be wanting to participate in something like that. And I completely understand. If it wasn't a World Cup year, I think he might have done the surgery. Because it is, and that's an interval mention, because it is, I think he's putting it off. It would not surprise me if we get to April, he's come back, maybe he has the surgery in the summer. He doesn't end up here. It would not surprise me then.
Because I
if
think
he doesn't get called up.
I think
that's the idea with Crooks, isn't it? Crooks is meant to be holding off his surgery that he needs for his injury until the summer.
I can understand that.
Crooks, it's his like chest and shoulder area.
It's his shoulder, yeah.
And look, I think Bellumi needs a full pre-season where he can get himself really sharp. He can have the pre-season games. If he needs to train more before playing, don't really matter. If he gets chucked on for 45 minutes, 30 minutes in a pre-season game, that's great. But they can be like glossed over, so that he can focus on getting himself sharp enough in training. And like I say, I think he needs a full pre-season, and then we'll go into next season and see where we are with him, because I hope it doesn't become something that ruins his entire career.
Yeah, repetitive. I think it wasn't something come out from the guys that actually did the check on Bellumi, where they were saying if he had the surgery, there's something like only a 2% chance it would ever reoccur again.
Yeah,
but without it,
I think you were out your secret, but I said it. It was 5 and 20.
Sorry, buddy. Yeah, 5 and 20. There you go. Sorry, I was out the seat. But I mean, with that in mind and that kind of gamble in mind, surely, as you've just stated before, that pre-season is definitely needed, because if he doesn't get a full pre-season in him again, it will happen again. It's been noted by Sergei.
It might happen again anyway. Season ends.
But even Sergei stated, look at the people who are getting injured. They're the people who didn't have a full pre-season with us. The lads that did have a full pre-season, who has actually been injured from that, really? I mean, obviously Giles, because he got that knock now.
Giles didn't have a full pre-season, though.
That's true. No, he didn't. He didn't. No, but that was because of a knock. But you think about
only Palmer.
Palmer got pretty much. Oh yeah,
he played, didn't he?
Pre-season as Giles did, because he came back late from internationals. Fair
enough. So no one who has had a significant injury. McBurney, Gelhardt, Bellumi, Miller. I mean, yeah, all of these players didn't. The long-term injuries.
Hughes has had a knock, but that's it.
But he's had a pre-season and his injury wasn't so bad. So the same with Giles, who even had a little bit and is only out for a month.
Oh yeah, of course. How could we forget the most injured player of the club?
Well, mind you, he's done okay, hasn't he? Really,
I think we miss him a little bit. We miss him and Lundstrom. Lundstrom, who apparently is back, who should possibly be back for the Blackburn game. If not, he'll be back for Southampton. And I believe Joffy is still a couple of weeks off, but he's started training. He's on the grass.
But it just goes to show how important it is, doesn't it? It goes to show how important the pre-season.
I think Joffy's a huge miss at the moment for us. Definitely, he's a huge. Well, I mean, because Lundstrom is to an extent in the midfield. It would have been interesting today, because I know he was going to start Amir, which suggests he was going to try and play a more solid, more like try and break up Watford's play a bit more than being on the. I think the squad to me today, because obviously he brought in Ndala and Amir. It felt to me like he was going to play like a more defensive side. He was going to let Watford have the ball and try and counter to me. So it would have been interesting to see what was going to go on
there. For just on Lundstrom, I'd write off Blackburn in the cup for him. I wouldn't risk it.
Oh yeah, I don't expect him to be. But
I've written off the cup.
Yes.
I don't think we need it right now.
I can't remember I can't remember the last time we needed a cup run. I want one, but every time we get to the cup match, we think, well, we haven't got any players. I don't even think this is genuinely that insane to say. If Jurkovic wants to even put players like McBurney or Miller or Crooks, who's been playing 90 minutes all the time at his age, in the squad, sack him. Clueless, sack him.
I'm ignoring that.
Yeah,
No,
definitely ignoring that.
Jarby, Famwo, Jacob, Ndala, players like this will play, but do not risk it, because we've had such an awful year, and we have, it's not like we're in mid-table. We have a chance of getting automatics, maybe playoffs. There's no point because what will happen is we'll get Birmingham away in the 4th round, and we'll all not want to go to that. So
I'd quite like Chelsea at home, actually.
Well, Chelsea would be the only good one.
I know.
Well,
me and Joe brought this up before the match. I said if there's one team I want to get, it's Chelsea at home, just because it gives an excuse. I can talk about Rossini and not get told off.
Well, yes. So, well, let's do it. Let's do it, because Rossini is in the news. Let's talk. We haven't got a match to talk about, so
no, because we can't. No, he's not playing. He's not the manager.
Rossini is up for the Chelsea job, as we all know.
Can I just jump in and say, can we do transfer first, please?
Yes.
You need Debayo, who joined us today.
How about let's not do Rossini at all, because I think we've done that to death.
Yes.
Right.
Was that a bit of positivity? No. We're going to go down.
Right, where to start? Are we starting with the rumours? Or
we signed someone. We signed someone.
With what we've got. First,
who is he? I'd never heard of him.
Do you want my honest opinion? Is good luck to the lad. I've heard he's a nice enough kid, but put it this way: he did 2 senior appearances when he's 20, and I don't think he's going to play much on an 18-month deal. I
think he'll be in the squad for Blackburn.
I think he'll be in the squad for Blackburn, but I don't think we'll see a whole lot of him after that.
You've got true. He's a youth, and let's be honest. If people forget, we're still under an embargo. Well, fee restriction, not embargo. We are still under that. I think people have kind of forgotten that a little bit. Some people, not everyone. So, this January is not going to be the most exciting. Let's be honest.
Well, Adjan will find a way. Adjan will find a way. Tricky. He will.
You've got to think. We could say this about Gallart, with considering where he's come from with Lee's same club and things like that. Gallart wasn't being played, and he definitely wasn't going to get played in the Premiership, was he? So,
but he played a little bit more than this guy.
Bit more.
Yeah, but
by a little bit, I mean 100 games.
Joffrey had scored against us for Sunderland in that 4-4,
and Wigan.
And the thing is, James Debayo has been without a club since the summer. So there is a distinction, but he's impressed on trial with the 21s. He liked it, clearly. He knows Joel Ndala, and the fact he said Joel Ndala has helped him settle in means that he has been with the first team, which
I get the feeling he'll be first team and younger lads personally.
Yeah, I think once we've got Shemi Ajayi back, I'd imagine that James Debayo, for the remainder of his contract, will spend 99.9% of his time in under 21s matchday squads.
Yeah, I agree. I hope you're wrong. I hope he's all right and he plays well, but I think he's going to end up being in that maybe the James Fairlong sort of position, where it's he exists, but we're not going to play him.
Yeah, that's exactly what it'll be. 100%.
Well, say that Fairlong might get a game against Blackburn.
Now Matty Jacobs back now.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. Forget that. He can't even get a game in the cup game because we recalled our other left back.
That's how this will be rated.
He was sent back, wasn't he?
Furlong left wing.
Well, he was injured. He got an injury. And
injury. Don't get me wrong. It was nowhere near as bad as it was made out to be. It was made out to be a season-ending injury. That's how it was made out to be.
Yeah.
Well, technically for Reading, it was a season-ending injury because he isn't going to play for them again.
The last day of December.
I don't think Reading fans will be particularly bothered about losing Matty Jacob or Finn Burns, for that matter, who's getting recalled by Manchester City from them.
I'm glad we got Jacob back because I think we need left back somewhere that we do need a little bit of depth. And I like Jacob, and I don't think Jacob, when he last played for City, wasn't pretty putting a foot wrong. That
He's better than Giles.
That Sheffield United game, he was superb when he played that game. That's like it wasn't the last time he played, but it feels like it was. But he barely been given a chance since then. So it'll be nice to see if he gets. Obviously, if Giles is injured, it gives him a chance to possibly get in the sides. But saying that, today he wasn't going to play. It was Drama played it right back and Coyle at left back. So
Matty Jacob finds himself in a very similar position to what he found himself in this time 2 years ago, where we have no depth at left back and an opportunity.
We're still playing Coyle at left back.
And an opportunity presents itself for him to come into the fold. 2 years ago, he made his Hull City debut, then scored against Birmingham. And then he went on to, when we lost Giles through injury after Leeds away, he went on to step into that team and looked solid enough in a team that was performing well when the team wasn't performing so well under Walter and Sayers and were further down the table. Yeah, he wasn't at the same standard, but the whole team wasn't. So this
it'd be interesting to see what his level is in a Sergei side that's like playing above where you'd expect them to. Like, look at Ryan Giles; like he wasn't playing well under those sides, but Jacob was playing solidly. If that improvement correlates, surely Jacob could have a good time, but we'll have to find out.
But then, as soon as Ryan Giles is back fit, Matty Jacobs' number 16 shirt will be perched on a substitute's bench near you.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
What next?
Dieng, the Middlesbrough goalkeeper. Have we talked about him? He scored a goal. So he scored for QPR.
Was linked with us a few years back.
He has been linked with us before. Yeah,
summer 22, I think it was Adjan's first summer, and when he was at QPR and when he got his move to Middlesbrough, he was a really, really solid Championship goalkeeper. It's a shame for him that it's gone pear-shaped elsewhere, but to bring him in as backup for Ivor Panda, he will be among the best backup goalkeepers in the league.
Better than Phillips, definitely.
Not against Phillips, but against much improved competition for Panda.
Yeah, it's not a signing to be made for, oh shit, Ivor's going to go. It's a...
Yeah, when people are saying that, it's like people fearing the worst. No, that's not what it is.
It's because if Ivor Panda gets injured, it's Dylan Phillips. And clearly having taken a longer look at Dylan Phillips, Sergei doesn't fancy him towards the top end of the Championship, which you'd expect because it's not a level he's ever been at. So I'd suggest that indicates Dylan Phillips could be on his way out if we need to make a squad space.
I could see him going out on loan maybe, and then maybe in the summer.
To Rotherham again.
Yeah.
Maybe. Back to Rotherham.
But yeah,
send him back to from where he came from, I say.
Let's be honest, City's transfer window is going to be free agents and possible Sheffield Wednesday attempts.
Well, maybe Dowell in from Rangers, which would be...
Yeah, there's Dowell. Point.
Is that another free transfer because Rangers hate him and they just want rid of him?
That's going to be a loan.
So, Coxie asking Palmer out and Dowell in. I've been on the sell Palmer bandwagon. In fact, I might have invented it. But after he dropped his shoulder and almost scored, it was the only bit of quality in the whole...
Yeah. Harrison Reed for Fulham did what Palmer couldn't today.
Exactly, yes. It was a great goal from Reed, and it's basically what Palmer tried to do against Stoke. So after that little cameo, I'm like, I keep Palmer, but Dowell has mostly played on the right wing.
God, you're so fucking fickle.
Oh, absolutely. I'm a football fan. Should we have kept Rachopi? Yeah.
No, why would Rachopi have stayed? Firstly, wages, and secondly, why would he have stayed as a backup?
If the injury crisis is that bad, you could put him on the bench with Phillips to make up the numbers.
I think he's having a nightmare anyway at the moment. I last checked.
I don't know how he's doing, and to be quite frank, Chris, I don't really care.
You don't care?
I don't care.
He's not a City player. But no, the last time I had a little glimpse, he's having a nightmare. There you go.
It was a one.
I do care.
A one wonder for Hull City.
I'm sorry. Going back to Palmer, It's been a nice. I'm surprised that we ever saw him again. I'll be quite honest. I thought we
I'm
wouldn't see him play
shocked.
against the City.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
the couple of cameos he's had have been relatively solid, but that doesn't instantly make everything change. That doesn't change opinions at all.
Palmer,
He's still in my mind someone who you're considering on the way out.
For me, he's number one on the chopping block and still is. But I think the only thing about
not Cody after what he said last week.
Well, not necessarily, because we have more number 10s than we do fullbacks.
Yeah.
So Palmer's still number one.
What number 10?
That's very interesting, actually, on Cody.
Being Crooks and Gelhardt.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about... Yeah, you can classify Crooks and JB as number 10s, fair enough.
Well, that's where they've...
Yeah, that's what I mean. And I'd have Palmer.
Well, you can play without a number 10, but you can't really play without fullbacks. You'd struggle.
Yeah.
Because even if you're playing wing backs, those are fullbacks, really.
Something interesting on JB drama is obviously Sergei said what he said after the Stoke game. Was it after the Stoke game about drama? And then he's in the side the following game, which says to me maybe there's been a conversation. Maybe it's whatever
the conversation is
the issue, because there was clearly something. What Sergei was saying about drama. I'm not going to bring up exactly what he said again, but it wasn't that. It was slightly like that's a very concerning thing to hear, that one of your players might not want to play for you and might be
open, isn't it?
A very open thing to say in that scenario. But the fact that he's in the squad the next game says to me that they've presumably buried the hatchet, if there was a hatchet to be buried.
Or he's got a response out of him anyway, because let's not forget Drama was injured before Stoke, and he's come back into training and he's gone straight into the side. He's had a good week training then, clearly. So we'll see where that goes. I think it wouldn't surprise me if Cody Drama was gone. The same goes with James Fairlong in the fullback position. Club in Scotland want him. Brandon Williams has been linked with Port Vale, which, to be honest...
I think Brandon's on the way out, isn't he?
Unless his calf keeps him hamstrung to us, the only club I've seen him linked with is Port Vale. And you look at their situation, where they're cut adrift at the bottom of League One, they will be willing to try their hand at a few wild cards, especially now they've just sacked Darren Moore. So... and Darren Moore was on a long contract, so that sacking won't have been cheap. Brandon Williams would be a relatively cheap wild card option, similar to when we took him in the summer. If it works, great. But it's probably not going to work anywhere for him, because he's not impressed for City's 21. And, players who do impress for City's 21s go out on loan to the National League. And... well, Brandon Williams wouldn't want to consider himself a National League North player at best, I don't think. So I think he'll be gone, injury permitting. That's Fairlong, Williams, Palmer, Drama, Phillips, and that leaves Sakintola, who the club are exploring.
We can't sell everyone, though, so one of these players will stay.
Well, for me, I would, out of all of them, I'd keep Drama.
Yeah,
if he would want to stay. And it's not just because of the fullback cover. I mean, we saw what he did in pre-season when he was running up that right wing and doing those cutback passes into the box, and we were scoring plenty of goals. I mean, for me right now, with our kind of right side midfield wing kind of lack of injury-prone section, Drama could easily squeeze into that right in front of, say, Coyle. For me right now.
That was tried at Watford, though, wasn't it?
That was tried at Watford and it didn't work.
Yeah. Well, we got a 0-0.
No, earlier in the season.
We got
early in the season. Yeah, did Drama go right wing there?
Yeah.
And it didn't work.
I thought it was right back and
I think he played right wing against Watford and he got an assist, but then it was the first half against Preston after that where he was diabolical.
Yeah, that was it. Sorry, Preston. Yeah, you are right there.
And then he had an injury and he's not been able to dislodge Louis Coyle since.
Well,
and
both Palmer and Jame,
I suppose.
They got hooked at half time, didn't they? Still kicked up a fuss.
How was Brano doing?
So yeah, that's January so far. Adrian reckons it'll be 3 or 4 in the door.
But obviously there'll have to be free agents or loans without fees.
Yeah.
Currently, it's no one, isn't it? Because no one's gone yet.
Yeah, it'll be the same number out. Yeah.
Do we feel there's anybody going to be going out that isn't on our list that we really just someone's going to come in for?
Look, the wording.
Joffy getting recalled.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was leading it. Thank you.
Leeds are fine though.
It won't do because I think Leeds are fine with him still being here.
I think Leeds are almost safe. One more win.
Yeah,
West Ham are so bad.
And if they were going to recall him, they'd have recalled him at the start of his injury, I think. If they were going to recall him in January, they would have already recalled him.
Isn't it only like 2 more days to be able to recall him? Is it 2
Not
more
sure.
days?
Not sure. I mean, Rushworth's last year, that was what? Was that a 10-day window?
10 days, yeah. I don't know if it's like 10 days, 2 weeks. I can't remember how long the window is before.
Well, anyway.
Leeds are fine. They're doing absolutely fine, aren't they? Even Aronson scored.
I'm not referring to Joffrey being recalled for Leeds. My concern is Joffrey being recalled to be sold.
Nah, don't see
it. They don't need to sell him because they don't need to buy anyone because I think they're going to be safe.
What kind of stink did Joffrey kick up in the summer when he got other offers as well? By the time there was only one place he wanted to be.
Supposedly there was, whether it was true or not, there was supposedly an actual transfer bid from Rangers for Joffrey, and he turned it down. Whether that was actually true or not, I'm not sure. But if it was true, suggests he does want to stay here.
I heard on play for Russell Martin.
I heard on that Leeds were
true. You might want to put Danny Roll now.
3 mil. They wanted 2.5-3 million quid for Joffrey, but there was only one place he wanted to be, and I suppose the other unexpected ones would be Hughes or Panda. And look, where the club are braced for those offers, but by the sounds of what Adjan said on Radio Humberside the other day, and what Baz and Mike have put out prior to that, the club don't think they need to sell either of those 2 players. But Baz has also suggested we need to move on between 3 and 4 million. We need to make or find 3 or 4 million before July, which could indicate one of them gets sold in the summer, possibly Hughes, early, so that we're FFP watertight.
Yeah. Well, if we get promoted, we're going to be fine. We've got that dollar TV money. So
I don't think Hughes will go because we have even less reason to sell him now than we did before because of the league position. I think if you get a £5 million offer for Panda, I think I wouldn't even be too upset if they sold him. He's been improved since earlier in the season. But if you can get that much for a goalkeeper and it sorts that problem, that's fine. If you can bring Dieng in, who's better than Phillips. But I don't know about Hughes, especially in January. It would have to be a championship club. And, talking about, we mentioned Joffrey and relegation and the Premier League and West Ham. Someone asked how much was Bowen's recall fee. It doesn't matter because that was all going to EHAB. So the club wouldn't see any of that anyway.
Sell on for, that didn't matter at all at the time because of our owners were.
Yeah. That being said, I just wanted to mention 3-0 to Wolves. I mean, we were thinking Wolves were the worst team in the Premier League history.
Yeah.
No one has ever gone to the worst team in Premier League history and lost 3-0. So I think that kind of makes West Ham the worst team in Premier League history.
What I was going to say, before we get on to Blackburn, I think the bottom 3 currently in the Prem will be facing next season in the Championship.
Absolutely. The only thing is if, Forest somehow get like a miss 10 sitters, concede their own penalties and gift a few goals to West Ham on Tuesday. Other than that, it's done. It's done. Yeah. Well, for Blackburn, I'd just throw the game. I'd just like we did today, do it again.
My starting 11 is the under-10s keeper in net.
Well, it's the under-10s, 10 of them, and Phillips in goal. Well, you got to let him play.
I don't know exactly what to do with this game.
Nothing. Throw it. We can't have any injuries.
No, because this week what's happened today is essentially given us what
2 weeks off.
What I thought.
Take it.
This week has given us this week off, which I thought was going to be the case that. So we didn't play today, so they've got a week off. I did think that it would be a case of we'd play today, and then next week they all had a week off because then they wouldn't be playing in the cup. But he might want to try and keep the match fitness up on some of those players. So I think he might play 2 or 3 of them at least, maybe 3 or 4. I don't think he will completely change the side. I think you'll see a change side, definitely. But like half, I think it'll be half and half. I think you'll see half of who was going to play today and half younger. And it obviously depends on how THAB treat it, because I mean they're not in. They might want to fancy a cut run because they're not in exactly any position, but they're not in a good position either. They're in poor form, so they might. If I was City, I would never throw a game. It's an incredibly stupid thing to say, Nathaniel. Quite frankly, as far as I'm concerned, today. How dare you?
The FA Cup is not magic anymore. Doncaster last year killed me. It's a garbage competition.
I can assure you, once you get to those latter stages, as someone who's seen it, it is magic. You just haven't got there yet. You was a little wee baby back in 2014, so you don't remember.
Hang on, I was a little wee baby in 2014, and I remember that. I was 8 years old.
Who are definitely going to play? I'd say Phillips, probably Jame, Destan, Jarby,
Famewa,
definitely.
And McCarthy. I think they're the 6.
McCarthy, definitely.
I think he'll start. Maybe a
potentially Palmer
because he was meant to start against Watford. I think he'll put him. I think he might be playing Darla because again he was meant to start against Watford. He was brought in. I think those are those 2 definitely.
Yeah.
Everywhere else is where it's an issue.
I think Matty Jacob will start.
I think Joseph might start up front as the main striker.
Joseph.
Destan will surely play.
Destan will.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Forget about poor Destan, your top goal scorer this season.
And then to populate the bench? Harry Vaughan.
No one. Don't bother with the bench. Throw it.
Harry Vaughan, James DeBayo, Stan Ashby, Calvin Akike. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's that.
Yeah.
We've got him by that point.
Yeah. Well, this is what I mean. I think can't believe it. The new signing we've had today that I've forgotten the name of because that's incredibly unprofessional.
I know his second name. What's his first name?
James DeBayo.
James.
Yeah, he'll definitely be in the squad.
Yeah, I think he'll be on the bench, DeBayo. Yeah. Look, we'll see a rotated team. We all know it going into it. And whatever happens with it, happens with it. Simple as that.
Yeah. Shall we do score predictions?
Well, before we do score predictions, we should probably update on how the predictions have gone for the past few days. So obviously,
didn't we do this an hour ago?
Well, we didn't go through them though, did we?
No, we didn't. Just should.
So obviously, today's game's results have been called off. No, Nathaniel, you can't have a point for a 0-0 because technically the game didn't take place. But you did get a point at Middlesbrough because you predicted us to win. So you did get there. Someone else who predicted us to win was myself. I said 1-0 Middlesbrough.
Hang on. Let me get these receipts up.
Let me get these receipts up.
Will text me about asking.
Whoa. This is fake news.
Asking what the predictions were.
Christian's quit. He's not having this. Christian's actually quit.
No, Chris is back. No, he's gone again. Chris is back.
As the table shows, look who's top.
No, right, hang on.
Lovely.
So, I sent a message into Will at 7:30. Predictions for you in case you haven't had a chance to listen back to the episode that we recorded the night before. Put the predictions in. Nathaniel 3-1 City, me 3-1 Borough, Chris 2-1 Borough, and Ant put in our group chat 4-0 Middlesbrough. At 19:32, I got a message with Will's prediction, which at 8:36 p.m. was deleted And after we
Sure it
scored,
was.
I meant 1-0 City. I'm taking 1-0 City.
Well, as the host, I think I can use my host veto to say Will is banned from doing any more predictions and is disqualified from the whole competition.
Well, it's unfortunate that I'm not, because I'm not. And as you've seen, I'm top now. I don't know what you mean, Nathaniel. You no longer join bot. Joe's just upset because you've caught him up.
Well, basically, Joe, if you actually took it seriously, maybe you'd actually get some of these right.
Yeah, some of us expected us to beat Borough.
With 3-1. Oh, dear.
So, I then text Will.
Read and weep.
I text Will at full time, as if only Nathaniel's got points out of that. Will replies, "What you mean?" I said 1-0 City. Deleted message.
Yeah. Look at you trying to say I've not said a prediction. This is disgraceful behaviour. As far as I'm concerned, you just upset Nathaniel, caught you up.
What message? All's fair in love and war, right?
I don't think this is love or
Is
war.
it?
I'd be very concerned if it was either.
This isn't a war, and I certainly don't love you. So, I just like you as a friend.
Oliver says this corruption makes Infantino look like a saint. Yeah.
What are you on about Infantino clearly rightly awarded that FIFA Peace Prize to a man who just invaded another country?
Hang on, is that the same man who said on New Year's Eve his New Year's resolution was, quote, peace on earth? That man?
Quote, bomb Venezuela. We interrupt to Hun and back to bring you to, is it Caracas and back?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. Geopolitics, everyone.
To La Guarida Port.
Yeah, I would recommend not doing politics on here right now, and we should probably end.
Yeah.
I know we have to predict Blackburn, don't we?
Yes. I'm going to say we're going to lose on penalties. And I can tell that we'll miss the deciding
we have to have penalties now, don't we?
Yeah.
Tell you what, if you're going to predict us lose on penalties, what we're going to predict? What's the score?
6-6.
How do you lose on penalties at 6-6?
I thought you meant in 90 minutes. 1-0.
Oh no, I can put 6-6, but you can also put the penalty. I also want the penalty score.
All right. Oh, you know what I'm going to say? 7-6.
All right, I'll have 6-6, 7-6. We're going to lose.
Lose, yes, we're going to lose, and I hope we do. I want to make that very clear. I hope we do.
You're a disgrace.
Look, I mean, when we get Bristol at home in the 4th round, or we would have done, then you'll all be thanking me.
The irony is, if Bristol lose, we'd get Watford at home in the next round. Bristol are playing Watford.
Problem solved. Actually, yes, I want us to win because I want us to get Watford now.
If we drew Watford, I'd be so pissed off.
And then
we'd be so pissed off.
Well, they're just lucky that there's no replays, because imagine.
Oh, we'd have to deliberately sabotage it that time. We'd
sabotage the replay.
No, we'd have to if the original no, there's no replays, is there? But we'd have to call the first one off, then draw the replayed game, then have a replay. That's how we'd have to do it.
Yes, absolutely.
Just for shit perfection.
Okay. Yes, predict.
Anyway, Chris, what are you going for?
Oh no, Chris is muted. There's no volume. I think he just said 4-0 to Blackburn.
I think I heard that too.
No, Chris, we're not even taking the piss here. We cannot hear you.
No, I'm back.
We can hear you.
I hope I'm back. Yeah. It's all right. I had the other button on mute.
You're doing the right thing and predicting us to win, aren't you, Chris?
Yeah, I am.
Good man.
I am. It's going to be 2-0.
Lovely. You've stolen my score there, which is beautiful work. I think because it's worked for me how many times this season now? Twice. I'm going to go for the 1-0 to us, obviously.
2-1 Blackburn.
Oh, you negative prick.
Don't get me wrong. I do.
That was a bit harsh, but
it's going to be one of those games where we probably won't get anything out of it. But you know, when you just got that glimmer of like the
cup games. Cup games are so unpredictable because you don't know what the team's going to be for either side.
True.
Early stages.
I'm not even sure whether I'll bother showing up, to be honest. Because
he's not going to show up and he hopes we lose.
You can't use your membership for that, right? Because not all of the stands will be open.
It's a cup game and only 2 stands.
At least I've said we'll lose, but I have a ticket.
Yeah, at least you're good.
I don't want to pay extra for us to go and lose to Blackburn.
Another postponed game probably when we turned up on this 5 foot of snow.
Well, true.
Blackburn would still be in shorts.
True.
Do you remember that Papa John's game where it'd been tipping it down with snow all day? They were shoveling snow off the pitch when you put the feed on, and Cliff Burns stood there doing the warm up in shorts. It's -2 degrees.
In the warm up, you exert a bit of,
heat.
Bit of warmth.
Good old Max Byrne. See,
Max Byrne? Is that his son?
I'm getting Cliff.
Cliff, there we go.
Cliff. I'm getting confused with Max Bird, the Bristol midfielder. That's what I'm getting mixed up with.
Different surnames.
different first names.
If you said David Byrne, you know that bloke from the Talking Head, I'd have gone, yeah, fair enough. Because it's the same surname. Even Dan Byrne, even though it's spelt wrong, completely different, I'd have forgiven you on that one.
Yeah.
Max Byrne. You might as well have just said Chris Kamara.
Shall we wrap this up then?
Yeah, we should. It's gone too long.
All right, bye then. Bye-bye.
For a podcast on a game that didn't happen.
Right, we've had 45 minutes of normal episode, then half an hour about a game that didn't happen.
Dear. Well, I hope you've enjoyed. Is this the first to Hell and Back of the year? Yes. Well, Happy New Year, everyone. I hope 2026 is
better than 2025.
Better than 2025. Well, from a football perspective, if it's better, then we're going to have a very good year, aren't we?
From a football perspective, if we improve the same amount that we did in 2025, we'll be 5th in the Prem.
But we've had 2 fixtures and we've not even scored a goal yet, so that's pretty poor. I mean,
5th in the Prem.
For one of the matches, we didn't even finish the game, so it was.
One of the matches, we didn't even start the game.
I was going to say, didn't even start, let alone finish.
That's a good point. Well, I'm going to finish the podcast now. I've been your host, Nathaniel, and I've been joined by Joe, Will, and Christian. So thank you very much. Happy New Year to the Tiger Nation. And we'll see you next week as we go out on penalties to Blackburn's 3rd team.
Like, subscribe, follow.
Smash the like button, yeah. Up the Tigers.